What's up everybody, today I want to talk about one of the best leveling builds for druids in Season 5, and it is a werewolf companion build. This build is incredibly fast, you can dart around the screen and destroy everything, you have massive AoE poisons that spread off the screen too, and we have massive single target damage with wolves that can literally one-shot elites and bosses. Druid has seen a ton of buffs coming into Season 5, from its core skills all the way to its aspects, making companions now deal huge amounts of damage and be on par with your other skills, meaning for the first time ever we can play a full pet companion build and absolutely dominate while leveling. The days of being a slow and sluggish druid player leveling to 100 are over. So how does it work and what's the playstyle? Well, Shred got a massive buff, and this is our main movement ability and our main attack. You leap across the screen as a werewolf and rip through your enemies. As soon as you get into a huge pack, you drop your poison creeper and your rabies, and your wolves then spread those poisons too. Then when you find any elite or big enemy, you use your wolves' active ability to pretty much one-shot them. They will just go over, dive on them, and one-hit them. And we can have more and more wolves this season, meaning the more we have, the more damage we see. Then you just move on because everything will just melt from your poison. You can level really fast in Infernal Hordes right now, and this build is incredible there. You can pretty much poison everything on the screen, and because stuff is spawning so fast, that poison just keeps spreading. And then whenever like a big boss, a big elite type mob spawns, you just set your wolves and one-shot them. So let's go into the build in more detail, starting with the skill tree. Okay, so starting at the top, we go with Claw. This is just our basic attack. When we're out of spirit, when we're out of resource, we use this to regain more. The best thing about this is it turns into a werewolf, so any ability that is linked to werewolf. So when you turn into a werewolf, get this, or turning into a werewolf triggers this, we get from using Claw. Then at the end, we take Fierce Claw, which also applies poison damage. So again, anything that triggers from when an enemy is poisoned, deal more damage, that kind of thing, we can do that with Claw. Moving down, we take Shred. This is our main action ability. It's been buffed like crazy for Season 5, and it does a ton of damage. We dart to the enemy and deal a triple combo attack. Then we go down here and we gain 30% attack speed, which is massive, and a heal. And we take the final one here, Primal. Second and third also perform a dash. In addition, the crit is increased. That means not only do you dash to the enemy and attack, you can dash through enemies. This gives us that huge mobility while leveling, especially in the early levels. We can just get through stuff really fast. Okay, then we take this cluster of passives here, 1 point in Heart of the Wild and 3 points into Wild Impulses to gain 15% increased damage to core skills, which is Shred. So big boost to Shred. Then we go down here and on our defensives, we take Debilitating Roar. Now there is a reason we're taking a Werebear form ability when we're playing a werewolf build, and I'll explain it. So this reduces the damage of enemies by 40%, which is good. It fortifies us, and then it also heals you, which is fine. But the reason we take a Werebear ability is because of our key passive. Our key passive here is Bestial Rampage. After being a werewolf for 2 seconds, gain 30% attack speed. After being a werebear for 2 seconds, deal 50% increased damage for 15 seconds. So basically what that means is we need one ability that turns us into a bear, and that's this. So this has a cooldown of 20 seconds. So every 20 seconds, you can get this down as well, you can turn into a bear and gain 50% damage bonus for 15 seconds. So not only is this a damage reduction, this is a massive damage boost that really buffs us. And then as soon as you've done that, you go back to being a werewolf and you're just gaining that damage increase while you're a werewolf. So absolutely massive for 3 points there. Coming down to here is our companions, and this is where we have to juice out on lots of points. We take wolves, so you summon 3 wolves, then you go here, increase damage to slowed or poisoned enemies, everything will be poisoned. And then we take when you crit strike, your wolves gain attack speed. Now, there's some other stuff you can do, but I like this one just because the damage is so high in Season 5 on companions. So gaining the attack speed is just, it ramps the damage up even higher. 5 points in here because it does so much damage. Honestly, this is a passive. They will just randomly attack enemies, but the active ability where they leap on an enemy is huge. And you can temper this even higher, which I'll explain later on. Then we take Poison Creeper. So that's like our single target destroyer. This is our AoE destroyer. So you have 2 Poison Creepers that like roam around and poison things, but then your active ability is you poison everything for 300,000 damage. You can see there, 529% I have right now. Huge damage. 5 points in there. Then you want to take poison durations are increased, and then take this. Active poison duration is increased by 3 seconds. So this poison lasts even longer, meaning just the damage just keeps going. This is the thing where most of your big AoE damage is coming from. Then we take some passives, 3 points in Call of the Wild for 36% bonus damage, and then 3 points in Clarity. Your next core skill damage or crit strike chance increased by 15% up to 45%. And that's you know, our shred. Okay, on to the next section. We 5 out of 5 rabies. You turn into a werewolf, deal damage, and poison everything over 6 seconds. Here, the poison is increased over the lifetime of the disease, dealing 60% of max duration. And then we take natural. Natural rabies, spread distance is increased by 70%. The reason that's so good right now is because of the infernal hordes. Infernal hordes is just constant enemies, waves and waves of enemies just everywhere on the screen, and the fact that this can spread over a further distance is really important. We also have an aspect that means our wolves can help spread our rabies, which is massive as well. Then we take these passives here. These are perfect for this build. We put 1 point into neurotoxin, and then 3 points into envenom. Companion damage is increased against poison enemies, and then crit strikes with werewolf skills deal their base damage as poison damage over 4 seconds. Massive, massive, massive. Make sure you max both of those. Coming down to here, we go 3 into quick shift and 3 into heightened sensors. This is the bonuses you get when shapeshifting, which we do a lot in this build. We go into werewolf a lot. We go into werebear for one thing. So these are huge, increased damage and damage reduction. And then we've already talked about Bestial Rampage here, increased attack speed and increased damage. Absolutely massive. I really, really like this and probably wouldn't change anything, but yeah, let me know if you would change anything. Okay, onto the Spirit Boons. So at the top, I would go for Advantageous Beast, 15% movement speed. This is a very high mobility build, so it works really well, especially while leveling. In the second row, I would take 2 here. I would take Scythe Talons for crit strike chance, and then I would take Swooping Attacks for 15% attack speed. Shred gets so much value out of extra attack speed. This build feels so much faster and so much more fun when you have more crit and more attack speed. So this is a really good combo. Then I would go for Pack Leader. Crit strikes have up to a 25% chance to reset the cooldown of your companion skills. The reason that's so good is because of Poison Creeper. So Poison Creeper has a 15-sec cooldown pretty much, and this is like your screen wiper. As soon as you drop this, everything on the screen is pretty much gone except for elites. So being able to reset that is huge. And then at the bottom, I would take Masochist. Crit strikes with shapeshifting skills have a 75% chance to heal you. There's not much else down here. I don't think this one's great, but there's not much down here. There's like Nature, Thunder, and Overpower Earth. This is pretty much the only thing worth taking. So yeah, that's the Spirit Boons. Okay, now let's go over the aspects. I'm going to use the Mobalytics build, which I'll link down below. This has everything on it. The skills, the skill tree, the Paragon Board, all of the gear, the stats, everything like that. So that's all down below if you want to just access it that way. But let's go over it. So with Season 5, there have been so many good buffs to Druids that the aspects here, there are so many to choose from. And each one just ramps your damage up so much. So leveling as a Druid feels really fun. And as you unlock more different aspects, you can feel the damage increase. So let's go through them. On the helmet, Vigorous, damage reduction while shapeshifted into a werewolf. Virulent, when rabies infects an enemy, reduce its cooldown by a number of seconds. This cooldown reduction is tripled on elites, like a very good passive cooldown reduction. On the gloves, we go Moonrage. Kills a 5% chance to summon a wolf companion. The effect is a lucky hit against bosses. Maximum of 3 additional wolves. In addition, gain +3 ranks to wolves. Wolves are a massive damage dealer. They're our boss just destroyer. So this is huge. On the pants, we go Spirit Bond. The damage you would take is redirected across your companions. In addition, your companions cannot die. What more can you ask for than a massive damage reduction and invincible pets? Perfect. Aspect of the Rushing Wilds is a movement speed. Then a Shepherd's aspect on your weapon. Companion skills deal an additional percentage of damage per companion you have. And we've just seen we can get extra companions up there. On the amulet, we go Alpha. Your wolf companions are now werewolf companions. Werewolf companions deal up to 130% additional damage and can spread rabies, which works perfectly well on this poison spreading build. Blurred Beast on one of our rings. While dashing, Shred seeks out a nearby poison enemy and deals increased damage. And then Stampede, gain 1 additional companion. In addition, your companion skills deal up to 30% bonus damage. And then on the offhand, we go for Wild Rage. Your companions gain the bonuses from the Bestial Rampage key passive, which was it 50% increased attack speed and then something increased damage. It was a really good one at the bottom. That is just really, really powerful. So yeah, overall, this is just a massive damage boosting build. It's so good having a really viable companion build that just slaps, and this one does. So yeah, they're the aspects. And I'll be honest, there's others you can choose from. While leveling, I got my hands on the Waxing Gibeus. The damage increase from that is phenomenal. If you can get your hands on this in the tier you're in, like if you get into Ancestral, tier 4, and you get this, just equip it. I'd replace Shepherds, and it is just phenomenal damage increase. It's so much fun. You kind of go invisible, like stealth, and then you just like, as you dash, you unleash extra damage, and it's just constant. The damage ramp up is massive. I definitely try and find this. I only have it at like Sacred, so I'm not using it right now. But yeah, try and get your hands on this. Mad Wolf's Glee is pretty good as well because it gives you a damage boost to werewolf skills, but don't worry about uniques. You don't need them. This build works incredibly well without uniques, but that's the aspects. Okay, now let's go over the gear stats and the tempering, and there's two things we want to do here. We want to increase our shred and our werewolf abilities, and then we want to increase our companion damage, mainly the wolves and the poison creeper. So that's basically what we're doing here. I'll go over the skills first. Anywhere you can get willpower, get willpower. In Season 5, they've made the core stat so much more valuable. You get so much more value per point of core stat now that it's actually worth taking it and masterworking it where possible. The next thing we really want is crit strike. So crit strike chance, a lot of things pop off like we saw in the skill tree when we crit, especially with poison, with shred. So having good crit chance is really good. So they're the two things I'd be looking for in everything, crit chance and willpower. On top of that, Ranks the Call of the Wild is good on your neck because that is damage to companions. I think it's 36% at 3, so any extra to that is a massive bonus in companion damage. On the helmet, you can get different companion skills, so try and find them. You can get ranks to all companion skills, which is good, but you can get individual stuff as well, like ranks to wolves or ranks to poison creeper. So whatever you can get there, go for it. If you can get the one that gets them all, even better. But yeah, that's what you want to be going for there. And then overall, just try and fill out what you're missing. If you want more cooldown reduction, if you want more armor, if you want more mana regen, spirit regen, whatever you're looking for, just try and fill it out. Movement speed on the boots is always good as well. But they're the main things. I would definitely be saying for the first time in a long time, willpower is a good thing to aim for if you can't find anything else. But yeah, feel free to take whatever you want that better fits your build or better fits like whatever you need to make up for on your armor. But if you want to follow it exactly, it's all here. You can try and find these exact things. Then let's go on to tempering. And we're going to start with the weapons. So on both of the weapons, for offensive tempering, I would go for werewolf attack speed. This is your mobility. It's how you dart around the map. It's how you trigger more crits, which triggers everything else in the skill tree we talked about. So I would try and get werewolf attack speed, and then I would go for shred crit strike chance on your weapon, purely because that triggers everything else. Having high movement, high mobility, attack speed, and shred with big crits just makes this build feel incredible. When everything's on cooldown, like when your poison creeper's on cooldown, your wolves are on cooldown, you're shredding. So having really powerful shred is really important. Then I would go for everything else. You can choose what sort of thing you want to buff. And they've been really generous with companions. There are loads of different companion things you can buff. And here's what I'd be looking for. On utility, wolf attack speed. Wolves really put in the work with how many wolves we can have, with how we can turn them into werewolves, with how we can use their active ability to like one-shot bosses. Wolf attack speed is huge. They also spread rabies and poison, so absolutely massive on utility. On offense, I would go for wolves as well. You can get wolf damage there, or you can get poison creeper damage. And I would say try and find the balance. If you're doing things like infernal hordes, being able to one-shot the elites is huge, but so is having high poison creeper damage so that when you cast poison creeper, every single thing on the screen is deleted. So try and find the balance. If you feel like your single target's too strong and you're really struggling in AoE, get some poison creeper damage offensive. If you're feeling like you're destroying everything on the screen, but you're struggling on elites, get more wolf damage. I like this. It's a little mix of both. On the feet, go for movement speed. There's nothing else really too crazy to worry about. There is so much we can do. They're very generous with what we can do here. They're very forgiving in that when you go to roll on your tempers, if you don't get wolves, you'll probably land on poison creeper. If you don't get poison creeper, you might land on wolf attack. So there's a lot we can do, and it's very forgiving if you don't land on what you want. The other thing to go for on defensive is to try and get debilitating raw cooldown. Debilitating raw cooldown is like 20 seconds, and it's good to bring that down to 15 because we have the ability that is when you turn into a werewolf, you gain attack damage for 15 seconds. So being able to re-trigger that every 15 seconds is very, very, very good. So try and bring that down with a little bit of cooldown reduction there. But that's it. This feels incredible. I can't wait to get to endgame and master it, masterworking everything, and push the really hard content with this. It's so much fun. It's so powerful. And yeah, this is how I've got mine right now, and it feels fantastic. Tailor it a little bit if you want, but yeah, have fun. Okay, let's talk Paragon Board. And I've tried to juice this. I've tried to make this as much juice as possible. We've got 7 boards with 7 glyphs and 2 legendary nodes. So there's a lot going on here. Tried to spread out as much as possible to get everything we need. So at the start, we go down both sides and both sides again, and we take Fang and Claw, which gives while in werewolf form, close enemies take more damage from you. Going on to the first board, we go for Heightened Malice, and we take the Bane glyph. The Bane glyph gives us You deal increased poison damage, and poison damage effects have a chance to deal double damage over their duration. There's loads of other things here for poison that we should take. Poison damage, damage to elites, poison damage, damage to poisoned enemies. And then we get the legendary node. While there's 3 or more poisoned enemies nearby, which there always will be, you deal 45% increased damage. We hit this board first because it's so much value in the early game. Then we go left and we go Lust for Carnage, and we get the Wilds glyph. This one is with every in range, companion skills deal increased damage, and the passive portion of companion skills deal 130% increased damage. And we also get another legendary glyph. Crit strikes with werewolf skills restore spirit. There's a lot of other good stuff around here for attack speed, which we should slurp up. Werewolf skill damage. So this is a good second board. And then basically what we're doing is we're hitting a board to get the glyph, and that's what we do all over. You can see here, this is something I always do every season. We go in, we put a board with as few connections as possible to get the glyph and move on. We go in, we get the glyph. We go in, we get the glyph and move on. So don't worry too much about what's in the board, but the remaining glyphs we go for are territorial, which is for every dex purchase, increased damage to close targets, and you get damage reduction against close enemies. We go for the exploit gift, which is increased damage to vulnerable. We go here for the keeper, grants bonus to rare nodes in range, which is our resistance, and our core skill damage, which is our shred. And then we get you and your companions deal 10% increased non-physical damage. And then finally, we get tracker. Poison damage effects last 40% longer. And for every 5 dex purchase, you deal increased damage to poison targets. That's the Paragon board. I'm really happy with it. I don't think I'm going to change it much. As I get to end game and I start pushing, I'm going to do I'm going to do an end game druid build that's going to be companions, hopefully, because I'm really enjoying it. But I'll tweak this around if I need to. But it feels really good. I think it's going to stand the test of time. I think it's going to last the end game. Maybe just a few small tweaks. But for leveling, this will easily take you all the way to 100. But yeah, that's the build. I think we're done. This is everything. If you've liked this style of guide, I cover these guides every season for multiple classes. I mainly go for sorcerer, druid, and necromancer are like the 3 that I've played the most. So if you like this style of guide, you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. If there's anything you want to add down below, let me know. If there's anything you change, anything you tried, we're very, very early into the season, just a couple of days. So we're all still learning things. If there's anything you can add, let people know down below. Let me know down below. But yeah, that's it. It's all linked down below as well. Everything's linked down there, the full build. Yeah, this is it. What we called it. The Shred Werewolf Companion Leveling Build. This is the one. So yeah, that's it. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you've got all the way to the end, thank you so much. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.